Jeff Solo. 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 Jeff Solo Times.
Alrighty folks, welcome, bienvenue chez Jeff Solo. How's it going? Today I'm just going to show you some updates to my collection. Now, I've been at this for probably my past 3 days off that I've had, and yes, so I'm just going to show you the new setup. It's pretty much the same if you've followed this channel for the past, I don't know how many years I've been doing this for, 4 years, maybe 5 years. You'll have noticed that a lot of the stuff's the same, but it's just been moved around a bit. But I do have some new additions, which I'll show you. Some of the things that I found that I forgot I had. It's like getting new stuff. But anyway, we'll just start over here. I've changed this around a bit. I've still got my James Bond posters up there. I'm sorry about the light reflections and that. It's not the greatest. I know, I'm sorry. But there's some Bond posters there, framed. Reproductions, obviously. And then I've got my jumbo figures there. And then a couple of signed photographs. There is me and Danny, and there is me and Danny. So it's legit. I met him. Big Chelsea fan, Danny. And there's Jeremy Bullock, who is a lovely man, but didn't really say much. And then I've got some PVCs and Guardians of the Galaxy pint-sized heroes. I'm still looking for a couple of those, so might be on the hunt for them if anyone's got any of those to trade. I have a few doubles. And on the back, just some PVC figures. I'm really into the PVC figures, I have to say, especially obviously the vintage ones. And then just a few miscellaneous bits. Steve Irwin, who was a gift for my brother when I was living in Australia. I sent that to Pete, and I was up in the loft the other day and I found him. He's missing a couple of the animals, but yeah, brilliant sort of bootleg figure. I remember buying it. I bought it in a wee shop at Early Beach. Yeah, so stoked to have that. That's pretty cool. And then I've got the Toy Box Disney figures. I've got Darth Vader, Boba Fett, Luke Skywalker, and a First Order Stormtrooper. Going down to this shelf, more pops. I've got the see-through Space Ghost now, which is a cool one. Flash Gordon, and down to, I've got a couple of Rogue, a Power Ranger, and a Mr. Freeze. Oh no, not Mr. Freeze, Iceman, who is probably my favourite Marvel character, even though I can't remember his name. Mossman, who's sick. And again, these are all my Masters of the Universe pops. And on the bottom shelf here, I've got my Guardians. The Guardians. I used to have my Guardians down here. I've got my Battlestar Galactica, and just a shelf riser thing. Down there's all my minifigs, Star Wars ones. Then I've got my James Bond pops. And then I've got my Street Fighter pops there. And then I've got BB-8 down there too, who makes noises. He's the Jack Specific one. Moving on. Up the top, just a few randoms. Got some Deadpools, a Hulk. They're the kind of Q-figs, I think they're called. And then that Brian, I got him at a car boot sale ages ago. Cost me 50p. He was absolutely filthy. I don't know what the owner had done, but I washed him up and he's come up a treat, so really happy. And that is Poe's X-Wing up there. It's orange and black X-Wing. Down here we've got some, the light's pretty glary, but we've got some Mezco Thundercats. We've got Chitara, Lino and Snarf. And then the one next to him, we've got Tiger and Panthro. He is an absolute nightmare to get hold of. He's ridiculous prices now. He's a lovely figure, but I wouldn't pay the big bucks for him, definitely not. And there's me. Hello. There's Thor. I think that's the Dark World hot toy. Yeah, it is. And it's the Light Asgardian armor version. I prefer that version, if I'm honest. On to the other side, I think I've got 4 hot toys and a few sideshow, but I've got my baby Groot, and I've got Star-Lord from the first movie, from the second movie, obviously. Next row down, I've got Bespin Han, which is a sideshow collectible, and then on the other side, I've got the New Hope Han Solo hot toy. Over here, I have one of my pride and joy pieces in my collection. This is my Visionaries collection. Just need that little guy's sword, and I've got a full set. So yeah, still on the hunt for that. I know, who is it he's got the sword and the helmet, but not Bugsy's Toy Box. That's it. The boys have got the sword and the helmet, but not the figure. I did have the figure, and but I traded him, so I can't help you out, lads. Sorry. Down here is kind of like a vintage shelf. I've got a Knight Rider. Sorry about the wobble. There we go. Knight Rider guy at the back, Michael Knight. Battlestar Galactica, Mork, and some corgis. Man from Uncle, Thrushbuster. I've got the A-Team van, Buck Rogers Starship with BD. And then down here we've got some Action Man, a new addition to the collection. Vintage Action Men complete with all accessories and outfits. So that's pretty awesome. I've got 4 of those. And then I've got a knockoff figure at the back there, knockoff, God, what's his name again? I forget. Schwarzenegger as well. It's not focusing very well, is it? There we go. Chuck Norris, that's it. Knockoff Chuck Norris. And then I've got Commando, a couple of Rambo figures, and then I've got my A-Team chaps. There we go. Sorry about the focus. I don't know what's going on there. Maybe I'm too close. There we go. And then down the bottom here I've got my videos from when I was a kid. They're my original videos, so stoked to have found them eventually. And I got some pop rides down the bottom here. On my new coffee table setup, which has raised up my cabinets. I missed out this one. This is my Sideshow James Bonds. Roger Moore, Sean Connery. That's Sean Bean and Pierce Brosnan at the back there. From GoldenEye. Oh, I think Die Another Day for the Pierce Brosnan, but GoldenEye for Sean Bean. Alec Trevelyan. Moving on, we got to the top here, we've got some Mighty Mugs. That's a robotic R2-D2. I got that in B&M Bargains, or was it Home Bargains a while ago. It's pretty cool, use an app on your phone, you can drive it about. Then I've got some G.I. Joe and Indiana Jones Mighty Mugs, Danger Mouse. Then down here I've got all my vintage Star Wars figures. That's them. Pretty awesome. Next shelf down, more vintage Star Wars goodness. A couple of big General Mills Stormtroopers there. Some of the last 17, Blue Snaggletooth. And then more vintage Star Wars. That's a Story of Star Wars vintage vinyl record in the shape, well, the picture of an Ewok, Wicket. It's pretty cool. That's a recent addition. Hans Blaster, little mini rig. That's my favourite mini rig at the back there. Back right, sorry. That is the Snowspeeder, which is one of my first, that was my first Star Wars vehicle I owned. Down here we've got the Rancor, we've got Slave 1, a Cloud Car and the Landspeeder. A Jigsaw and a mini rig box at the back there. And on the bottom shelf, the Millennium Falcon. Still missing that radar dish. Back up again, over here we have the Jurassic Park Funkos and a Del Boy Only Fools and Horses Reliant van. Signed figure of Wedge Antilles. Behind that is a Black Series Han Solo and Carbonite. Next shelf down, G.I. Joe and World of Warcraft. Love that Destro. Awesome. Next shelf down, we have the original Batman pops. There's a couple more to get, but I probably won't get them. And then next shelf down, we have a few recent additions to the pop shelf. We've got Percival and Artemis from Ready Player One. And we have Wayne and Garth from Wayne's World. Awesome pops. And then on the very bottom shelf, we've got the Guardians of the Galaxy. A bit dark down here, but there they are. Drink them in. So that's awesome. Over here, we've got some signed photos of Dirk Benedict and Kenny Baker. A couple of carded figures there. Iceman and a King Arthur Knights of Justice Lancelot. Then we've got my Visionaries artwork, which I got direct from the creator of these. A framed poster from a Jigsaw of He-Man, Galvatron painting canvas, and then round that corner behind that shelf now is my Thor 3 3/4 inch action figures, which I've pretty much got most of them from both the films. Both the first films, not Ragnarok, the other two. So I'll have to sort that out eventually, but I'm tired. Up here, another new addition. I've got my new Thundercats. These are the Funko ones, the Savage World ones. Is it Savage World? Yeah, I think it is. So that's the first wave. Pop in a box were an absolute joke, by the way. If you guys do like Funkos and stuff like that, don't buy anything from Pop in a Box. It's a waste of time. They package them horrendously, and their pre-orders are nonsense. So yeah, I cancelled my pre-order and got them the next day from Amazon. So there you go. Next row down, more Pops. Popeye, one of my personal favourites. Next row down, Phantom, another one of my favourites. Aquaman, he's a new one. I like that film, it was good. And then the next row down is just more Hanna-Barbera, Shredder and animated Batman. And then down here we've got my, it's all dark, you can't really see anything, but it's the Lego Biker Scout, then it's that cool set, the Beatles Yellow Submarine set, which is one of my favourites. Shuttle Tiberius, I might have said that wrong. It's the biggest Lego set I own. Because I couldn't get a vintage one, it was far too expensive. This will have to do, because it's one of my favourite ships from Star Wars. Down to this cabinet here, we have my Green Lantern figure, a Cylon, a couple of Fisher-Price Adventure People vehicles. I had that as a kid, that's why I got him again, and of course the astronaut, and my Space Opera Star Wars dancing figures, which you'll have seen in a previous video. Up again, we've got King Arthur and the Knights of Justice mixed in with some World of Warcraft movie figures, and a Drogo at the back for Game of Thrones, which is coming back soon, folks. Next cabinet, or next part up, we've got some Thundercats, and some more Thundercats, and some more Thundercats. All the original figures. I haven't got them all yet. I'm obviously missing a lot of accessories, but I'm quite happy with what I've got, to be honest. And then up here, Brave Star. I think this will be where I end my Brave Star collection. I've got everything I need. 3030. He is kind of a new addition. I don't know if I've showed him off in a previous video or not, but he's kind of new. I got a good deal on him. Obviously missing pretty much everything, but he did have the saddle, so that was good. Tex Hex. Awesome. And then up here, just a mismatch of stuff. We've got my Disney minifigure collection at the back there. Looking forward to their second wave. Leoric, which is one of my favourite things, Mighty Mug that my brother Tim bought me, really cool. TIE Fighter, Funko Pop, Darth Vader's TIE Fighter. Let's see if we can focus in a bit better. There we go. So that's awesome. That's Godzilla Funko, and that's a statue that my dad got actually in a charity shop down south. I think it came with a game or something, but it's a really nice statue of Bumblebee. I think you paid £2 for it. And at the back there's a cool Darth Vader that my girlfriend's late father found me at the car boot, so I keep that one because it's awesome. I just love the deformed ones. There is one of my Christmas presents, my humongous Black Series Star Wars Stormtrooper helmet, which I love. There's a little black Darth Vader black helmet money box. Couldn't get that out for a minute there. Down here, just a selection again of figures. Got some Marvel Selects, Marvel Legends, some NECA. So yeah, just some of my favourite characters. I'm not a massive fan of Blade Runner, but I love Harrison Ford, so I had to get the figure. Down here we've got Defenders of the Earth, and we've got the Biker Mice from Mars. And then we've got the start of my Thing collection, which I've now decanted it into the one cabinet over 2 shelves. So that's shelf 1, and that's shelf 2. Let's try and get in behind that. Have a look. There we go. That's pretty awesome. I don't know if I showed that one off. That's the Mego thing, which I got from a friend of mine in the Netherlands. Awesome. Here is my Star Wars coin collection that I got. It's an advent calendar, and it's really cool. So I've got that displayed because I do collect coins as well. So to twin the Star Wars and coins together, I was in there like swimwear. So that's pretty cool. And then the shiny coin of the Death Star at the bottom, which is like I think that was like the 24th day or whatever, Christmas Eve or Christmas Day. You got that one, so that's cool. We'll just go back up to the top. Star Wars Black Series. Behind there's a canvas of Boba Fett. You can just about see it through there. That's covering a tear in the wallpaper, which it's a bit of a bummer, but nevertheless, so they're all here, the whole gang. That Bespin Han Solo is absolutely superb. Try and get a better view. It's really glary. Don't know if I can open this with it. No, I can't. But yeah, there's too much stuff lying about. Just be a disaster. But that Bespin Han Solo is fantastic. Next shelf down, we've got the Imperials. Darth Vader, Grand Moff Tarkin, one of the best Black Series figures in my opinion. Some Stormtroopers, TIE Fighter pilot, attack driver, you know, that's pretty cool. Next shelf down, kind of the newer Black Series figures. He is one of my favourite characters, I love him. I don't know what his name is, forgotten. It's something unpronounceable like a sneeze, but he's pretty cool. The Blind Ninja, he's a new acquisition recently. And also this chap, who I picked up due to really Six Shots review of it. I just thought, yeah, gotta have that, that's cool. Down here again, we've got the kind of diorama piece with Darth Vader. We've got the Bandai Stormtrooper. He's like a samurai figure, I forget what they're called now. And then the Black Series Boba Fett, Jabba the Hutt. Next shelf down, we've got Bucky O'Hare figures. That's a complete set. Weapons, that's good. That was one of my favourite toy lines. And then again, Ninja Turtles, basically the ones I had as a kid, to be honest. And the two on the right are from my trip to America. And then down here, let's move this out of the way. Down here we have my Sons of Anarchy collection, which is pretty cool. So that's awesome. Big fan of the Sons of Anarchy. Big fan. So that's cool. Let's switch that back on and put this back up. That is my vintage Star Wars carrier case, Darth Vader. Pretty awesome. Down here we've got all my Star Wars pops. I've boxed them all up. I don't know what I'm going to do with those just now. I've kind of fallen out of love with the bobblehead pops. Well, I've never really liked them, but yeah, I'm starting to get... I just can't be doing with them, the bobbleheads, so I'll probably end up parting with those at some point. Then we've got Marvel Select Hulk, which is, in my opinion, one of the best Hulk figures that there's been. And then there's Thor as well, which my girlfriend bought me a while ago. And there is Juggernaut, which my brother Tim also acquired for me. Another cool piece of my collection. Love that. It's the Marvel Select Juggernaut. And then a little sort of Juggernaut and Colossus merger figure, which I picked up in Home Bargains. It's really cool. And what else have we got? Is that it? Is that it? Oh no, we'll go over here. Street Fighter, G.I. Joe figures. I've got Vega, Ryu, which is my brother bought me him, and M. Bison. And then over here we've got my vintage Star Wars carded figures. So we've got Weequay, Lando, Han Solo in trench coat. We've got Klaatu. We've got Logray, another version of Klaatu. Oh, sorry about the glare. Admiral Akbar. Then we've got this cool ass poster. Really, really nice. And then over here we've got Rees and the Gamorrean Guard, which is obviously, if you've watched this video before, I say this every time, this was the first carded figure I owned. Vintage carded figure, and then it kind of kicked it all off for me. That kicked off all my collecting really. And then we've got Nikto, Rogue Princess Leia figure. I don't know why I've got that. I picked that up in America, but yeah. And then my dad bought me that, bless him. It's a knockoff Jawa figure, vinyl cape Jawa with an orange cape. But pretty cool nonetheless. And then we've got my Biff Bang Pow Flash Gordon retro figures, which I love. Then we've got these Star Wars Builder Droids, which I got from Florida. The only one I've named is J2C7, and the rest of them are nameless for the moment. So pretty awesome little droids. Right down to the bottom with this guy. And then we've got my Robin Hood Prince of Thieves figures, which I have. I'm still trying to find protective clamshells for these, and it's doing my nutting. So I'd really like to find them at some point so I can protect these, because I don't really like having them hanging up just like on card. I also need to get protectors for my Street Fighter figures as well. But yeah, it's proving a bit of a mission, I have to say. So there you go, folks. Thank you very much for tuning in and enjoying my collection with me. And I will see you in the next one. Cheers now.